Hi everyone, my name is Adeola, Adeleye. Hating people because of their color is wrong, and it does not matter which color does the hating, it's just plain wrong. This was a quote said by professional boxer Muhammad Ali. Ali, as other color athletes, has faced different racial slur and discrimination due to their color. Racism just only does occur in boxing only, but it also occurs in the world of soccer. And today I'll be informing you the definition of racism, the history of racism in soccer, the example of racism, how racism affect players, manager, fans, and referee of soccer, and what is being done to minimize racism in soccer. First, the definition of racism. Racism is the art of using derogatory slur, discriminative word, and racial gestures toward another race. And now I'm going to go to history of racism in soccer. Racism in soccer begins in Europe. It started as a leisure game and eventually turned into a competitive game. And it started with five nations, which is England, Ireland, and Scotland, and Wales. And eventually, other countries or other nations joined, like South American, African, Asian, and North American. And that was when racism began. And now I'm going to go to the example of racism that occurs in soccer. Example, the first one is Cyril Regis, who was born from France, but he plies his trade in England, and he played from 1977 to 1996. And one of the occasions was when an opponent used a racial slur against him, and they asked him, "What is he racist?" He said no. He said he used a racist slur to throw off Regis off of his game. And another example was Oladapo Orotimi, who was born in England, London, but he was adopted by a white family. And one of the fans during the game shouted at him, "Hey, black monkey, you should pack your bag and go back to Jamaica." And originally, Rotimi's parents were from Nigeria. And now I'm going to talk about how racism affect players. Racism affect players psychologically, emotionally, and physically. And I'm going to give you an example of psychological effect, emotional effect, and physical effect. Example is Kevin Prince Bono, who was verbally abused by an opposing team, an opposing fan, and he became mentally distracted from the game, and he decided to walk off the field. And shortly after, his entire team joined him by walking off the field, and his supporting teams follow him as well. Example of emotional is Oladapo Rotimi, who quit the game after 10 years because he couldn't take the racial slug and the that was being used toward his family and him. An example of physical effect is Samuel Eto'o, who who Bonano was thrown at him by an opposing fan while he was playing for Barcelona. And now I'm going to move to how racism affect managers. Racism affect managers in terms of team management and unity, and also call a big distance between players because some players can't endure being racially abused all the time, and some of people can also handle racism. Now I'm going to talk about how racism affects referee. Referee uses it as a judgment call. An example will be when a referee punish or penalize a black player, or a black referee penalize a white player for something on the field, and people can characterize it as racist act. Another way, some referee tends to ignore racism behavior from players on the soccer field, and they classify it as a simple banter or something serious or part of the game. And now we're talking about what is being done to minimize racism in soccer. There is a form of kick it out promotion, like a t-shirt that's being worn before a game by a lot of soccer players to represent low tolerance of racism in soccer. And also there's also a form of fan in which individual that is found guilty or team found guilty of using racial slur or gesture are being fined a huge amount of money. And also they also use point deduction, which is being incorporated by President of Federation International Football Association FIFA as a way to minimize racism in the world soccer. And finally, they also use bans in which teams that are fined more frequently using racial abuse or racial slur have been banned from the game for at least a year or so. And now that I've discussed with you today the definition of racism, the history of racism in soccer, example of racism in soccer, how racism has affected manager, fans, player, and referee of soccer, and what is being done to minimize racism in soccer, I would like to leave you with a quote from a wise person which says, "Achievement has no color," and this was said by Abraham Lincoln. I hope I have informed you today about the racism in the world of soccer, that it does not only happen in boxing or basketball, it also happens in the world of soccer. Thank you.